Hello and welcome. My name is John. I am a political strategist here in Ontario. I am talking about the federal election. Today I am talking about what I perceive to be the gray wave, which is the elderly boomers that are now pushing Mark Carney up in the polls. I think that it's very frustrating to see, once again, a similar playbook from COVID being ran on the Canadian voter, and it's working, and it's a fear campaign. In 2021, we were told that we needed to elect Justin Trudeau because we were facing the greatest threat in generations, and only the Liberals in their letter jacket. He was wearing a letter jacket, if you recall, like a football style jacket, and which they like to go to sports around the elections, I've noticed. But he was supposed to save us, so he threw on the letter jacket with the Canada, and rah rah rah, he's going to save us from COVID. 2 years later, the country was ready to throw him out into the Pacific or Atlantic Ocean. We were tired of him. He was doing so poorly in the polls that ultimately he had to step down. And 2 years later, Mark Carney's standing on stage again saying, this is the greatest threat in generations. There's only been three years since 2021. And that's not many generations. There's not that many people even been born in that time on the large scale. So this idea that we're also now needing to vote for the Liberals again, because again, it's the greatest threat in generations, is ridiculous. They're the greatest threat in generations. They're the ones that have tanked the economy in the past 10 years. They're the greatest threat. And they keep literally running back and coming up with these costumes and hockey jerseys and for football jackets. And we're here to save everybody from the greatest threat. And people line up and go, yes, save us, we need to be saved, right? It's unbelievable to watch. It's unbelievable to watch. Now, I don't think ultimately he'll win. I honestly think that Canadians will understand that the problems that we're facing are deeper than Donald Trump. And just like they were deeper than COVID. We had problems with stagnation prior to COVID. COVID made it worse. Tariffs might make our productivity worse. We still have underlying problems that need to be addressed, and the Liberals cannot solve them. And that's the problem. But Canadians continue to fall for the trick. It's the oldest trick in the book. Elections are either won on fear or hope. Pierre is running a hope campaign. Canadians love the fear campaigns. I'd like to see numbers, and I don't know how you could even find this, but which countries panic the most to news. I guarantee you we're probably in the top 5. I don't even need to see the polls. And we panic too often, and part of that's because we have such an old population of boomers. As you get older, you get afraid of everything. When you're in your 20s, you will put on rollerblades and skate around a table at a house party and fall over and everybody laughs. When you're 80, you can barely take a shower without fearing death, fearing slipping. You have to put bars in your shower. And that's part of life, and it's a sad inevitability for everybody. But the reality is, within that, you're losing testosterone, you're an old person, you're afraid. That's not the best voting demographic to be leading the country. Young families should be the number one demographic leading the nation. Always. So a country of seniors that wants to have a massive influx of immigration to keep service levels up is squeezing the young family beyond repair. And that's what we're seeing. And it's a sad state of affairs when the seniors in a country are just more concerned with themselves constantly than the next generation. That was not like that for the World War II generation. They were a lot more, first of all, they actually sacrificed something, unlike boomers that have sacrificed absolutely nothing. And we've also ran into this thing where we pretend that all seniors are equal, all generations are equal. Not necessarily. There's a difference between a generation that sacrifices everything and then a generation that expects everything. So ultimately, Canadians have to see through this election that our problems are backward economic policies and an outdated public understanding of the world. Our public is lost. If you talk to people and you ask them about wages, they go, well, it's the same everywhere. And you ask them about GDP per capita, yeah, but because of COVID, it's the same everywhere. It's not. It's not. Out of all the G7, we're the only country not moving in 10 years. 10 years. And we keep, oh, it's COVID, oh, it's tariffs. That's stupid. That's very, very dumb. That's how you end up at the bottom of the world. That's how you end up with Spain, like near Spain and Morocco, as far as like GDP. Like you keep dropping. And I like Spain and I've been to Morocco and these are great places. We need to be a lot higher economically and not try to be an average country, which seems to be what we're looking to do. We have more resources than everybody. It's remarkable how much resources, like I don't think there's even a more resource rich country when you compile everything than Canada. We have 30 million people and half of them can't even figure out how to get a job or vote. We still have on any given election, the turnout is like half the country. So we have a whole half of the country that just wanders around aimlessly, oblivious to everything. Again, that's a great way to lose a country. That's a great way. Like if people are actually worried about being annexed by Trump, keep walking around pretending nothing's going on, keeping your elbows up while you run your economy into the ground. Well, eventually we'll have no choice. We'll be so weak that we'll have absolutely no choice. Our dollar will be plummeting. We'll say, oh man, what can we, we're panicked. We're so afraid. We better join up with the Americans. They have a strong dollar. Our dollar's now trash because we trashed it with selfish elections. We kept running to the polls because liberals kept scaring us into voting for them. It's absolutely absurd. The Canadian people have to take ownership over the state of affairs. They can't keep voting for governments based on a guy that comes out and says, I like sports and I'm here to save you. I'm going to save everybody. This is ridiculous. We have to increase our productivity. We have to get to our natural resources. We have to turn this country into an actual country. Okay? We have to look at it and say, what are our assets? What are our resources? What are we good at? Or what can we improve? Instead of turning it into a social experiment, a global social experiment, which is what it's become. The great Canadian experiment. And Mark Carney and his advisors want to run the population to 100 million people by the year 2100 or something. What? How about fixing the economy? The idea that you just grow your country without any thought, and that's a good idea, is nuts. We're not a restaurant where we're looking for people to come in. That's great for a store, sure. The more the merrier if you're in retail. But a country that actually has obligations to its citizens that are already here, and a country that has obligations to improve its markets, cannot just blindly say, well, the only thing we can promise is we're going to increase immigration to. That's the only thing that they've come up with. And while we do that, we're going to harm our natural resources. It's totally bonkers that people are falling for this. Not everybody. But the left-wing voters are when I was younger in America, a lot of you would say like the less educated or like a lot of the like less educated voters were Republicans. So you'd look and you'd say like there was a stereotype that they were kind of dumb and stuff. Some of it not necessarily true, but there was definitely like large swaths of just like, not the most intelligible reasons for voting. And it's changed a lot. Republicans, and it's the same as up here, when you're not the mainstream culture, you end up becoming much better at what you're doing because you're constantly having to sharpen your arguments, you're constantly being attacked, your positions are attacked. The left is now in the opposite mode. They've just drifted around. Well, on TV, everybody loves what they come up with. The View, all these shows, the news. If you watch CBC National, you're constantly pacified as a liberal that you're the smart one. And it's made them so stupid. It's made them absolutely unable to decide what's actually going on in the country, whether it's COVID or tariffs or anything else. And I have yet to meet a liberal that's been able to explain to me why Mark Carney's going to be a good prime minister without saying Trump and Orange Man bad and all those nonsense cliches. Well, he's going to be good. No, and we did the same thing during COVID when it was like we're afraid we'll just blindly trust anybody. Oh, you're a doctor, good enough. No questions asked. Nobody else is the expert other than this guy. Same thing right now, right? Apparently Mark Carney's the only banker in the country that knows how to do things. And just as a banker, it's just going to obviously make him the fantastic prime minister. Ridiculous. If banks were able to increase productivity over the last 10 years, they would have done it, right? The idea that the banks in Canada have done nothing other than increase the real estate market based off of a gamed system. And outside of that, they've done nothing, absolutely nothing. So the idea that a banker is going to grow the economy when the banks have actually done nothing to help the economy is absurd. Canadians have to be smarter when they're voting. They have to look at the issues, not what Mike Myers thinks or what CBC tells you to think or what your cowardly fears tell you to think. Actually look at the issues. Look at the stats. Look at the GDP per capita. Look at the wages. In Ontario, we're a different level of oblivious. I'll give you an example here. We make, on average in Ontario, $52,000 Canadian a year. In New York, it's $70,000. And in Los Angeles, that's US. And in Los Angeles, it's even higher. It's like $80,000. So, you put that into Canadian dollars. You're looking at like $80,000 or $90,000 for New York and almost $100,000 for Los Angeles. We at $50,000. And our real estate's more expensive than theirs. And we sit around and go, it's the same everywhere. It's the same everywhere. Like idiots.